Yo, what is up guys, MrPantaloons here with Upper Omnia, and in today's video we are gonna be talking about the most consistent characters in Global. So we know about the tier lists, but a lot of times those tier lists, they only tell you how good a character is at one point, right? But you don't really know their past or their future, because if the meta shifts, then the tier lists may not give you any insight at all. Although tier lists are useful, but also knowing how consistent a character can be is probably even more useful than a tier list. But how do you tell how consistent a character is, right? That's even more difficult than a tier list. You basically have to get like a bunch of tier lists and check the progression of a character during those times, and then you can make out how consistent that character was. So for this starting video, we are going to be talking about the 7 months of global release. How consistent were the characters that we have joined, all 60 of them, and yeah, we're gonna see which one was the most consistent, and we're gonna make like two lists. There's gonna be we're gonna have two lists. There's gonna be the first list, that's gonna be the best picks, so the most consistent characters rather. Then we're also gonna have a second list with honorable mentions, which characters that are really nice to have, that are more niche and really shine in different scenarios. So I feel like they deserve some kind of recognition. And then we're gonna have a top 8 of those characters. And in a future video, we are actually gonna be discussing the most consistent future characters as well, which is gonna be very, very nice for those players that really have a hard time in choosing which characters they want to focus on. So I have about 5 tier lists, and yeah, I'm gonna be able to see how consistent some of the future characters were. But anyway, we're gonna talk more about that in the later video, right? But right now, who are the most consistent characters in Global? So let's start right off the top. We sorted by joins. So first off, we had the 3 initial characters. So we have Warrior of Light, Vivi, Rem, and we're going to be starting with the first list, and those are going to be the best picks. So the first pick is going to be no other than Saz, and that is mainly because he's got his 35 CP. So before his 35 CP, he was not going to make it on the list, right? But he's got his 35 CP, and ever since he's been pretty good. He's been pretty consistent, but it's been pretty much a month. So Saz, he's been consistent for a month. And then moving forward, we got the next up right here, which is Cloud. So Cloud, he did get his 35 CP, but Cloud, actually he's been one of the top tier characters right from the get-go with his organics. He was really, really good, very, very consistent. It did take him 6 months to get his 35 CP, which he really needed. But for me personally, I have been using Cloud ever since the global release, and he's been useful to a certain extent in pretty much all the content. So my boy Cloud, I'm gonna have to give him a consistency of 7 months. So the game has been out for 7 months in Global. Cloud, I'm gonna give him a 7 out of 7 months of consistency. We might argue that he may have fallen during a couple of those months, but I was using him, and I was using him without any limit breaks, and he was still helping me with the content. So I gotta give him 7 months, right? And with his 35 CP here right now, there is no doubt that he is still consistent. So Cloud, 7 months. Next up, we're gonna have to go down the line here. Next up, another best pick is gonna be Vaughn. So Vaughn, He's another starter character. Also, he was really good right from the start with his 15 CP, and he did need about 5 months to receive his 35 CP, which he actually really needed. Now, the thing with Vaughn is he kinda struggled for a few months, so I'm gonna have to take out around 2 months, and that is because during those times, during those 2 months where he was struggling, he still had his 15 CP, and then there were characters like Ace, which is another magical character, and he had a 35 CP, and the Ace, he was doing much better than Vaughn at that time. So Vaughn, also you had like Aiko, you had a bunch of these other characters that are really good. So Vaughn, he wasn't seeing that much play. So in total, he's been consistent for about 5 months, and he is consistent right now, obviously. But for those 2 months that he was really aching for his 35 CP, he was really struggling there. Next up, we're going down the line here. Let's see. Okay, we gotta go down a little bit. So now we're gonna go to the first Lost Chapter characters. So one of them is gonna be Squall. Now, Squall, when he first released, he had his 15 CP, which is this weapon right here, Twin Lance, which honestly, in my opinion, is not that great of a weapon. You get the solid barrel boost, and that's pretty much it. So I don't think Squall with his 15 CP was that great. At the same time, he is kind of a good character. He hits pretty hard, so I can't really fault him too much for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's see. So it took him 3 months to get his 35 CP, and during those 3 months, I think I'm gonna give him 1 month of consistency. I feel like after that one initial month that he gained his 15 CP, then he wasn't that great anymore, because we had things like Aiko 15 CP, we had Titus with 35 CP. So Squall, he wasn't that consistent anymore. Aiko, she would mess with him with those smites. He would get all that bravery and ruin what he wanted to do. And then Titus with the 35 CP dealt all the damage and more that Squall can do. But we're gonna have to give him that 1 month, because he does hit pretty hard with solid barrel. He has Brave plus HP on the Ramza cooking. So overall, I'm gonna say Squall has been consistent for 5 months since he has been released. So he is consistent right now with the 35, and oh boy, we disconnected. See Perplex in the chat right there, but we're currently disconnected. But we gotta go. We gotta continue with the video. So that was Squall, 5 months of consistency. Next up is gonna be no other than Aiko herself. So Aiko, it took a month for her to get in the game. She got her 15 CP right here, the Priest Racket, and she's pretty much been consistent ever since. She's got her 35 CP as well. She's been great. She's been consistent for 6 months, so a really consistent character right there. Next up, we have our boy Titus. So he it took him 1 month to release in global, and he had the 35 CP right from the beginning, so he's been consistent ever since. Consistent for 6 months. There we go, with the slash combo, with all those debuffs, the speed and the damage. Alright, let me this on pause. Hey, what's up guys? We are live again. Hello Perplex, how's it going? Alright, so that was Titus. The next best pick is gonna be further down the line here with Presh. So Presh, she released 1 month into global, got her 35 CP. Really good character. She's been consistent for 5 months. She is consistent to this day. The next up is gonna be, let's see, where is he? Hold on a second. He's right there. He's Vincent. Oh, Vincent was next. Okay, I guess I put the Presh up there because I feel like Presh is a little bit more valuable than Vincent. But Vincent as well, it took him 2 months to come into the game. He had his 35 CP. Ever since, he's been really good. He's been consistent. for 5 months in total. Next up we got Seamer. He also came out after 2 months. He had 35 CP and everything. He's been pretty good. He's still pretty good right now. He's been consistent for 4 months. Next up, going down the line here, we have... Okay, yeah, we have Papalimo. So Papalimo, he came in after 4 months, and he had his 35 CP, which made him really good. And he is pretty good right now as well, so that makes him consistent for 3 months. Then Lightning on the same banner, Lightning 35 CP, took her 4 months obviously, so she's been consistent for 3 months. She's one of the best characters. And finally, for our last best pick, who do you think it's gonna be? It's not gonna be Thancred, it's not gonna be Snow, it's not gonna be all these characters. It's gonna be Aries. So I decided to put Aries here, but yeah, Aries, I'm not too sure. I think she deserves being on this list though, because I really like her. I think she has a lot of powerful things she can do. So it took her 5 months to come into the game, so I'm gonna say she's been consistent ever since, and in total that is 2 months of consistency. So those are the best picks. Now we do have a list of honorable mentions, and let's go real quick through them, see who they are. So my first pick for the honorable mentions, well, this is not gonna be yeah, you'll see. This is gonna be interesting. So it's gonna be Hope first off, and Hope, you got the Shell, you got the Protect, so he can always come in handy with those 2 buffs. But again, he's not as useful as some of those more consistent ones. So Hope, he's gonna be on that list. Next up we got Yuna. Again, she's got Brave Battery, she can help you with the Marlboro, so she is definitely worth some recognition. That actually included Bartz. So Bartz, I really like Bartz, I played him quite a lot, and he hits pretty hard, man. He's a really good Brave Shaver, so I felt like he really deserves some recognition for that one. Next up we got Terra, which yeah, Terra is also, she's interesting because with her 15 CP though, it took her like 3 months to get her 35 CP. Now how good was she with just the 15 CP? Honestly, probably not that great, but now with the 35 CP I feel like she's alright. She's had 4 months with that 35 CP. I think she's doing alright, so gave her some recognition there. And then another one is gonna be Laguna. Laguna, he had a summoning weapon, so he could gain some more points if you have that weapon as well. So Laguna, he's got some AoE, he's got some buffs, he's got some debuffs. I've used him for the Setzer Lost Chapter. I feel like he did some pretty good work. You have also plenty of uses here. You got 6 grenades, 4 shotguns. I feel like he deserves some recognition there. Furion was also another one that I was considering, but I feel like he just didn't do that much. You got the blood weapon, which is kind of nice, but the rest kind of falls apart, so I don't think he's gonna make it on the list. So after Laguna we got Vanille with her 35 CP, so it took her 3 months to get her 35 CP, but ever since she got her 35 CP, she's kind of interesting. She deserves a little bit of recognition. Then we have Setzer, same thing, 3 months for his 35 CP, also very useful in some situations, definitely worth a mention. Next up we got Balthier. So Balthier, it took him 5 months actually to get his 35 CP, so it's been 2 months for him with the 35 CP, but he's really interesting because if you can steal some buffs, he can really shine, so he's pretty interesting as well. Then we have Ferris, which is kind of similar with Balthier and Vanille in the sense that she can control your target's buffs, so I feel like she deserves some recognition as well. Then Ramza, which right now, I guess he's not that loved by the community. Both Ferris and Ramza, they took 2 months to come into the game, but they've been interesting here and there. Ramza with the galvanize, you got the attack up, the brave regen, the high turn rate. Also, he's got the shout to make him hit pretty hard. So he's been interesting here and there, and he can definitely shine in some specific team comps. Gator, what's up? Platinum Hunter, Darkness. Hey, how's it going, guys? Regret not getting Bars 35 CP. Yeah, I don't know. Bars 35 CP. I'm not sure how good of a weapon that is, but it would have definitely boosted Bards a little bit. Alright, so we are down to Ramza. Next up, my boy Ace. So for Ace, ooh, I really like Ace, man, but I feel like he just doesn't do that much damage. If he dealt a little bit more damage, then he would be considered a best pick, but I'm just gonna give him a honorable mention for now. He's really good. Yeah, he's a really good magic damage dealer, except there are a few that are better than him, right? So he kind of falls down a little bit there. And for the final pick for these honorable mentions, I'm gonna go ahead with Krill. So Krill, I feel like she's interesting. She's got some things she can do here. She's got like she gives herself some attack up. You got like greater damage boosts. She gives some brave battery, and then also with the thunder, you get more masteries. So she's kind of interesting. I feel like she could definitely do some work in some specific team composition. All right. So those were all the picks. Obviously, some of these later characters like Kane, Celeste, Garnet, they were not gonna make it on either of these lists anyway, since they are pretty much new characters. So they haven't really had time to shine yet. They haven't really had time to be consistent yet, right? So maybe we'll come back sometime later and we're gonna revisit these newer characters and see how consistent they have been. But for right now, let's see the top 8 most consistent characters in Global. Check it out. You probably already know it. It kind of got spoiled right at the beginning, but I'm gonna have to give it to Cloud, man. I feel like, in my opinion, Cloud has been the most consistent. Which is better, Krill 35 or 15? Oh man, I don't even remember the difference. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check them out. But top 8 most consistent characters, so I'm gonna give it to Cloud. He's been consistent for 7 months in my opinion. I pretty much used him throughout the entire global release, so I have experience with him. He's got Brave plus HP, he's got Paralysis, he's got the Chase on Demand, he's got the Makomite that really helps you with those pesky waves with the minions and everything, as he gets, if you see right here, raise attack for 3 turns upon start of each wave. And some of those minions, they can be really annoying, and Cloud, he can deal with those, right, just because of that Makomite. So for those reasons, Cloud has been really useful for the entirety of the global release. Now on the second place, we have no other than, let's see, boom, we got Aiko on the second place. She's been consistent for 6 months, and she has been the most consistent character for their time in the game, right? The only reason Cloud wins is because Cloud was there right from the beginning. Aiko, she needed 1 month to come in the game, but those 6 months that she's been in the game, she's been the most consistent character. So in that sense, she wins over Cloud. Next up, we got Tidus, which is in a pretty similar position with Aiko. So number 3 Tidus, 6 months of consistency. Number 4 is going to be my boy Vaughn with 5 months of consistency. And then 5th place is going to be, let's see if I can find her. 5th place is going to be Presh with 5 months of consistency, there we go. I'm losing my breath here at the end. Vincent That's 6th place, right? 6th place Vincent with 5 months of consistency. 7th place gonna be Squall with another 5 months of consistency. And the last spot, the number 8, is gonna go to, actually down here, 8th place is gonna go to Seymour with 4 months of consistency. Alright guys, so that is it. Those are the top 8 most consistent characters that we've had in the 7 months of global release. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with this list? Are there any changes you would do? Let me know in the comments below. Let's see what does the Twitch chat think. Apparently Krill 15 is better. Yeah, okay. The list is bunk. Alright, looks like we've had enough with the video. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Give me your thoughts in the comment below. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Have a good one and take care.